Hey, this is Adam from realworldworship.org. It is a blog for worship leaders and church musicians in average churches who are doing extraordinary things. And we have resources not just for worship leaders, but I'm a guitar player, so we talk a lot about guitar stuff. And I think even non-church musicians, non-church guitar players will find stuff that's useful and helpful. And on Gear Thoughts today, we want to talk about the Walrus Audio Red. It is a high gain distortion pedal. Let's be honest. It's a modified clone of the Boss HM2. Now, the Boss HM2 gets a bad rap, and I think the main reason is because it gets lumped in with the Boss Metal Zone, which also gets a bad rap, but somewhat deserved. The HM2, though, for a number of years, I've heard people say, actually, that's a pretty good pedal. It's a really good high gain distortion. I love this pedal. The Walrus Red is a great high gain distortion pedal. And I think it's one that you should check out. Now here's the thing. If you play in an 80s cover band, if you are playing metal or you're genting or whatever, then this is an obvious thing. The question is, who would be using it like in a church setting, or I mean even go farther, like if you're in a country band, or if you're, a band where you don't think of high gain distortion as being like, oh, that's something I need. Let me talk about this here. I think, first of all, one of the things that makes this thing really special is just the amount of options here. The texture option changes EQ things. There's all kinds of EQ control, all kinds of gain control, usable sounds at multiple different settings. Like, let's be, some pedals, like the Electro-Harmonix Big Muff, it's kind of known like the tone knob only has like a very limited range where it's usable, and then you go too far one way or the other and it's totally unusable. Some pedals, they're great at low gain settings, but anything beyond that and they just get horrible. I found usable tones all over the spectrum, all kinds of different configurations. Now, obviously, I'm not demoing those. There are plenty of good demos out there, and they have far better sound quality and playing ability than I do. I'm just talking about these things. So who in a church band or a country band or somewhere where you're like, I'm not going to use high gain, why would you use this? I'd say for a couple reasons, especially for church players. If you are looking for like lead tone, but you don't want fuzz, great option. If you're stacking 3 different low gain overdrives to get your lead sound, why not just have one really good low gain overdrive and then have a really, really solid high gain overdrive for your lead tones? High gain stuff isn't just for lead tones as well. Like even on a slower, low key song, I think a lot of times guitar players forget that, you know what, you can use this to fill in the sound. Think about, it's a totally obscure song, but there was a band in the 90s called Poor Old Lou, and they did a song called What If Uncle Ben Had Lived, and it's kind of a chill song, like acoustic guitar, an organ, it's very, and then in the chorus there's this very distorted guitar tone, but it doesn't get the song big and energetic, it's adding to the mood. And songs like Oceans, you don't have to get all reverb and ambient pads. You could actually use this strumming like low notes, whole chords, and just let things ring out and create a really good mood. But also, of course, lead lines. If you're on a real upbeat song, you want to really bring that little oomph to the lead lines. I think this thing's fantastic. Of course, the drawbacks is that it's high gain. Some churches, there's like a forbidden anything on any kind of gain. You only clean tone. I get that. But I think for those of us who have the ability to do kind of what we want or within reason, it's super usable. So I would definitely use it for lead lines, for texture. Finger picking with fuzz or high gain is actually one of my little secret techniques. And so I think it's very usable. And anybody that's kind of like looking to try something, like I know I've got 3 or 4, low gain overdrives, and I need to shrink things down. You could do one really good low gain overdrive and this. One really good, a Tube Screamer, a Morning Glory, something like that, and this. So worth checking out. Could you use it as your only overdrive? Yes, you'd have to really dial things back, and I don't think it would get you long-term where you need, but in a pinch it would work. I mean, even like country players, So many country musicians are using like Marshall heads and all this in the back. Like if you do the rig rundown for like Brad Paisley, Keith Urban, these guys, they're using these big uh, high gain kind of heads for their lead stuff. You could do the exact same thing in like a country band, a church band. You're doing a cover band or something like that. There's a place for this kind of tone, and then you don't have to carry around the big Marshall half stack to get it. All right. So it's not. I'm not saying it's a Marshall in a box. I'm just saying it's a good high gain lead tone. All right. So that's me talking about this. I'm Adam from realworldworship.org. Thanks for checking out our Gear Thoughts videos. You can check out our website for resources for church musicians, worship leaders, and even non-church players. I think will find something helpful. All right. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.